Hello again and welcome to today's Sugardale Charge Chat. I'm Scott Zurilla. Glad you are with us, and it's a real pleasure to welcome into today's chat the Canton Charge Swiss Army knife himself, Muhammad-Ali Abdur-Rahkman. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great, good as I can be right now, but just taking it one day at a time. How about you?
I'm good so far. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get to the questions, we of course want to welcome in all of our Charge Nation members, corporate partners, and Charge fans wherever they may be. So, buddy, let's get right to it. Again, I mentioned to you a moment ago, this won't be too tough. I'm not smart enough to ask you tough questions. But you might find the first couple of questions kind of interesting. It's a question that I've wanted to ask you for a long time, and I have a lot of fans asking me. I've never had the answer. Your full name is Muhammad-Ali Abdur-Rahkman.
Yes.
What do you go by as a first name, Muhammad or Muhammad Ali?
Just Muhammad.
Just Muhammad. Okay, now, the other question I've had people asking me is, this may be a dumb one, but were you named after the boxer?
Yes, I was.
Now, your father a big boxing fan, I take it? Is that where that came from? Mom a big boxing fan?
My dad was a big boxing fan. He actually met Muhammad Ali because he had a camp up in Deer Lake in Pennsylvania. And he went up there and he took a bunch of kids from like the Boys and Girls Club, and he met them.
I was going to ask you, now you would have been really young because Boxer had passed away a number of years ago, but did you ever get a chance to meet him?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Are you a boxing fan?
Yeah, I actually do watch it. I'm a big boxing fan.
Well, that's good because I'm a big fight fan myself, so maybe that'll give you and I a little more to talk about on bus trips and waiting in the airport for flights. So that's good to know for the future.
For sure.
Let's get to a couple of questions from our Charge fans. First one comes from Nick and John Comey. They're first-year Charge members, and we appreciate them joining us. Pretty straightforward question here, Mar. When did you first think you could become a professional basketball player?
I mean, I have two older siblings, so I mean, I've had a basketball in my hand since birth, probably, following them around and things like that. But I just always set my ceiling high, so I always wanted to be a pro basketball player, and I just always try to go and work and achieve that.
Now, most professional athletes are great athletes and have played multiple sports. Have you played baseball, football, anything else growing up?
I played football most of my life. I stopped in like 8th grade. I ran track for a year, and then I played lacrosse for a year too as well.
Wow. Now, Levi told us a couple of weeks back what a terrific middle school quarterback he was. Do you have any stories that you can take us back? What a great elementary school pitcher you were or anything like that?
I was a really good football player. I played wide receiver. My team actually won the Pop Warner Super Bowl in, I think, 2008. Yeah, so.
That's probably, we'll have to discuss that with Levi to see who's got the better story from long ago.
Yeah, I would beg to differ that it was me.
I'll let you have that conversation, but I will want to listen in. Our next question comes from Mitch Reese. Mitch has been with us before. This is quite a long one, so stay with me there, buddy. Hi, Mar. Hope you and your family have been safe and healthy. It's been nice to have you back in Canton for a second year. You always seem cool and calm when you're in the game. This year, you seem to be playing with more confidence and looking for your shot more. How would you compare your first year in the G League to this season?
Well, last year I was coming off an injury, so I just injured myself, and so I was just trying to get my feet wet, trying to get the rhythm back and things like that. I was more cautious, and I wasn't as confident because my body wasn't feeling like it was 100%. So this year I wanted to be more confident, looking for a shot, and then playing off of that, and I could find others and do stuff like that. So I was a lot more confident in myself and in my body this year.
I'm going to follow up on that a little bit later in the conversation. That brings up a good point. Mitch had a follow-up question as well, though. After the end of the G League season last year, did you play anywhere else or in any other leagues before the start of this past season?
No, I actually didn't. I just played. I just worked out and did like pickup back home in Pennsylvania. But other than that, I didn't really play.
All right. Up next is a question from Pinar Elliott, a member since the first year. So Pinar, thank you for that. You've been with us a long time. His question is, hello, Muhammad Ali. I loved watching you play. Just wanted to know a personal question. Where are your family origins from? He was born in Turkey and made frequent trips to work in the Middle East.
My family's originally from like Pennsylvania. They grew up there. My dad was born in Georgia, and I think my mom's family is originally from Virginia. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Or how about you personally now, with everybody trying to stay busy, find things to do, and those of us just getting through our normal day as a professional athlete, have you been able to stay busy, keep up with your game? Have you been able to get outside, or what have you been trying to do to kind of stay in shape, just so that things don't fall completely off the table and you can keep your basketball skills?
Well, it's been tough with basketball because there's no gyms open or anything like that. But I just try to stay in as good a shape as I can with the stuff I have. I have a couple bands and, just do a couple in-home workouts, But it's kind of tough right now.
Yeah. Do you stay in touch with with your teammates much at all?
Yeah, I talk to them. We still talk in the group message and things like that. So.
Yeah, I know. For as much as I traveled with you guys, I never really paid much attention who roomed with who. I think the only one that I know was Matt Mooney and Dean Wade as the two-ways.
Yeah.
Who was your roommate on the road?
Malik Newman.
Oh, Malik?
Yeah.
It had to be fun.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah, you got a lot of good times.
I say that because he's a terrific guy. You all are. And that's one of my questions on the list here, is that as a team, you all, and I've asked all the guys, I talked to the coaches about this, you all genuinely seemed to really like each other. You always laughed. You always were talking and having fun. That's hard to fake. So when I kind of chuckled about, you rooming with Malik, and that probably was interesting, he's just got such an outgoing personality. It just seems like there's a lot of fun on the roster this year.
Yeah, definitely. We had a lot of fun this year. Guys were really close, and I think that showed on the court. We actually genuinely liked each other. We hung out outside of practice and things like that. So I think the chemistry is really good.
As a guy who plays at the level that you do, it's funny you say that, because we always hear chemistry is important in sports, but as a guy that's out there doing it, I'm not saying that if you didn't like a player that you wouldn't pass them the ball or help on defense or anything like that. I'm guessing that it is still a lot easier when you do like your teammates, that there is no looking at who's open. It's just you're finding the open man, you're just playing defense, and there's really not much thought to it.
Yeah, it can be tough in the G League, to be honest, because everybody's trying to get to that next level. But I think collectively as a team, we just thought that we could all help each other. And if we play together, we'll all help each other to succeed to the next level. And I think that showed with the number of people that got call-ups and our record.
Yeah, there's no question about that, because, again, I've been with the team since the beginning, which is 9+ seasons. And it's always interesting how I want to word the question or the phrase, but in a way, the G League is very, very selfish.
Yeah.
Guys are very much wanting to look for themselves, as you said, to get to the next level. So it's kind of rare to be as team-oriented and have the chemistry that you guys did this year, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely rare. Like I was saying, that everybody wants to get to the next level. So you get different personalities, and more people are a little bit more selfish, and more people will take the back seat. So, you got to kind of gel together. But I think we did a good job, and, nobody was malicious in not passing each other the ball or things like that. We all wanted each other to succeed.
Well, the great thing about that, Mar, to follow up, is that, you would have 25 points coming off the bench, which was your season high. The next night, Dean might go on and get 29 or 30. Levi put up 47. It didn't matter who was hot. Malik, we talked about him scoring 20 points per game here and there. For guys to be able to just go out and not worry about who's doing what on any given night, that's going to take you a long way. And when you guys finish up at 29 and 14, that's pretty indicative of that, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes a long way. I think it's because we all cheer each other on. You look at the bench when guys are getting hot and scoring, people are going crazy on the bench because we want each other to succeed. So I just think that we genuinely want each other to succeed. So it's easier and to give it to somebody that's hot or things like that. No jealousy or anything like that. And I mean, that's big to have on the team, especially at this level.
In some ways, I would imagine it might be kind of difficult, your role. And because if you saw the little minute segment I did on you a few weeks ago, as I said at the top, I called you the Swiss Army knife. You play both guard positions, you score, you defend, you did a little bit of everything. You started, you came off the bench. I would imagine for you that made it kind of doubly difficult because you didn't know when you were going to play, how much you were going to play, where you were going to play, who you were going to play against, who you were going to play with.
Yeah.
Accurate?
Yeah, for sure. But I just took it as a challenge. Every game, you never know what's going to happen. Your number might be called. You might not be well suited for this game, but you never really know. So you just try to go in and help as best as you can. And I just took that as a challenge every day of practice, just trying to get better and better.
And we've been talking about the continuity, the teamwork, and everything, and it spells out in that 29-14 record. Also, you had won 10 in a row at home. I believe it was you had won 8 of 10 overall, and that is 8 of 10. You were the number 2 seed, had the playoffs begun. How far, and it's easy to say, oh, well, we would have won it all, but completely objectively speaking, you guys were really good.
Yeah.
And, you had a legitimate shot, didn't you?
Yeah, for sure. Being the second team in the East, one of the top 5 teams in the whole G League. So I think when you're top 5, anybody really has a legit chance. But I just think that our chemistry and the way we were playing down the stretch really would have propelled us in the playoffs.
I think on top of that, Mar, would be that also more looking at it from a skill position, that you guys were deep, you were balanced, and you were versatile. Would you agree with that? You had a little bit of everything. You score on the inside, the outside, perimeter defense. You had some bigs, a little bit of everything, didn't you?
Yeah, we have people at all different positions. Everybody's pretty much versatile. It's not often that you get a team like that. Usually you get guys who could just score, guys who could just rebound, guys who could pass the ball. But I think we had a lot of versatile players, and that helped in offense and defense, being able to guard different positions or being able to have guys who are 6'5", 6'6", who can play make, usually when they're just a scorer or slasher. So I think that helped a lot.
As I mentioned a moment ago, you have the ability to do so many different things. And Colleen did such a great job of putting that piece together that I talked about a moment ago, with your ability to come up with steals and block shots and everything. What do you find more difficult? Because you're basically a guard, and basically you come in at 6'4", but you played some guys, especially down the stretch when you started those games. You were playing some bigger players, sometimes forwards. Talk about the difference of playing a perimeter guard, but also having to play some bigger guys that you gave up size and some strength and things of that nature.
It's tough, but it's all a mindset. You got to outwork that guy. They're bigger than you, probably stronger than you. So you're faster and quicker. So you just try to get in front of them and be a pest to the point where they just stop working to get the ball and things like that. So it's really just a mindset.
Well, I don't want you to be modest with this answer. As I said, when you came in, when you started, you guys won 7 in a row. You played very well. Why do you think that happened all of a sudden when you came into the lineup? As I've said a couple of times, a great defense. You got to a stretch. I wrote it down here. In those 7 games, you were 19 of 40 from beyond the three-point line. You averaged about 12 points per game. All of those above your season's average. What was the magic going on in that stretch that you played such a big part in?
I think it's just.
And don't be modest. Don't be modest.
I just think it was a spark that we needed as a team. And, like I said, I would always go to practice and prepare and try to be ready. And, it's a long season, guys coming back from USA and all that. It kind of, I wouldn't say messed up the chemistry, but it was different because we didn't have our whole team. So I just tried to go in there and provide a spark. Like I said, I was always prepared, and confident. So I think that was the thing that helped the most, was me being confident, knowing I'm capable of doing these things and making shots and making plays and playing defense was the biggest thing. And I think that teammates helped and the coaching staff helped too as well.
Well, it was a fun stretch. There was no doubt about it. And again, a guy like you that can do so many things, it really does play out well on the floor. I want to talk quickly about your college experience from your days at Michigan. Former Cavalier coach John Dwyane was your coach at Michigan, and you guys went to the title game. Unfortunately, you lost that game. But I asked this of Matt Mooney. One thing to play in games, it's another, like when you play in a national championship game, does that kind of not make a game in November, a game in January, not quite as big of a deal when you've played at that level like you did?
Yeah, kind of, because it's the biggest stage. We all dream to get there, and it's the last game you can play. Like, it's the national championship game, so like everything's on the line. But I mean, it's just a great experience, you know. Not a lot of people that get to experience that, and to be able to say I got to experience that is pretty cool.
No, I mentioned before about the fact that you can play pretty much 2 and 3 positions, et cetera. Do you prefer being a point guard? Do you prefer being a shooting guard? Does either matter to you? You could even play a little 3, depending upon a small opponent lineup. Do you have a preference?
Not really. I just prefer to be on the court.
Good answer.
So, you know, when you want to be on the court, you got to be as versatile as possible.
Where did you, you know, with the league changing so much, I'm much older than you are. So I remember, if you've been watching The Last Dance about Michael Jordan, well, have you? I'll ask you that first.
Yeah, I have been.
What do you think about that?
I think it's really good.
Because I know that you know how great he was, and now that you're starting to see a little bit more, has it kind of changed your opinion of him, or for the better or for the worse?
I think it's the same. Like, I knew he was very competitive, competitive guy, and he always wanted to win, you know. I don't think it really changed my mindset, but it's cool to actually see the game, see the interviews, and because I didn't get to see that because I was young and growing up, so I didn't really get to see it.
I bring that up because, again, that was right in my wheelhouse, 70s, 80s, 90s. I saw all that, lived through all that. How are your thoughts when you watch it, when you see how the game was played in the late 80s into the early to mid 90s compared to what you played today?
I think it's completely different.
It is.
Yeah. I would say it's for the better, more exciting.
You mean back then or now?
Now. More exciting, more up and down.
Yeah.
I think more of a half-court game. I mean, the Bulls did get out and run, but I don't think every team was like that. So I think that's what made them even better. But, yeah, I think the game's a lot better now. But it was more fundamental back then. I know people like that, and the older crowd, it says that people aren't fundamental now, but it's more exciting now.
Would you agree with me, and you don't have to, when I say that the game was more physical back then?
Yeah, it was definitely more physical.
Would you have liked that?
I mean,
it looks dirty when you watch it now. It looks dirty, and a lot of it was dirty. Yeah. There's no denying that. But there's something to me, and a guy, as I said, that lived through it and played at a far lower level back then, that, you know, it was when I say cleaner, it was just guys playing basketball, and it wasn't as much complaining about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I grew up on the East Coast, and if you know anything about East Coast basketball, there's a lot of fouling and small courts, playing outside, that kind of thing. So I think I'm pretty much used to that.
Muhammad, when you were growing up, who was maybe your first, maybe the first player that you looked at and said, you know what, man, I really want to be a basketball player? I'll go first. When I was a kid, and I knew it would never happen, but when I first started to see and learn about this guy named Julius Erving, like, oh my goodness. How about you?
I would have to say either be between Allen Iverson or Dwyane Wade. You know, being from Pennsylvania, the Sixers. Yeah. I mean, all the games are always on TV. I think they had a camp at the local park too, and he showed up. So I think Allen Iverson, and then D Wade. I just fell in love with him when he was at Marquette, and just the way he played in both ends of the floor. He's fast, quick. So I think those two.
Well, I like the Dean Wade because you have his build and you have his versatility. So I like that. I see that in your game without question. And the Allen Iverson, I had the pleasure of interviewing him a number of times over the years. And I don't know if you ever met him or not, but just a very nice young man. And when you'd see what he could go out onto the floor and do, and then to talk to him afterwards, just very soft voice, very polite. And he was a good one to be a fan of. So that was a good choice as well.
Yeah, he definitely was a really good player. And he also changed a lot in the NBA. So he's
he did. I don't remember this certainly for sure. For the hair, and like Michael with the baggies, he went with the shorts, and a lot of the jewelry as well for Allen Iverson.
Yeah, he was one of the first people to get his hair braided during the game too.
Okay, there you go. Mark, before we get to wrapping things up here in a few moments, just want to talk about, because we're all missing basketball and we all want to get back to the Civic Center, but you really were a fan favorite, and do not take offense to the way I phrased this comment question. For a guy, I think you averaged about 21 minutes a game. You weren't a starter. You didn't score the most points. You weren't the flashiest, but you certainly were a fan favorite. I know a lot of fans asked about you, and I saw you talked to a lot of fans. How did that make you feel through the course of the season?
It feels good, It's always that extra support, that keeps you going. When little fans come up to you and want your autograph and things like that, it feels good. You may feel down a little bit because your minutes are up and down, but to have that happen, it gives you a boost. And I think just fans can relate to, they want to relate to a player. So somebody that they see themselves in. So like when I go out there and play as hard as I can and give 100%, I think they see that in themselves.
And the great thing was nobody held it against you that you went to that school up north, which I personally don't care about, but I know a lot of people do.
The great University of Michigan, that school?
That's right. All right, Mar, now before we let you go, we're going to have a little bit more fun.
Okay.
Play a little game. It's called 5 Fast Ones. We're going to ask you 5 just complete random questions out of nowhere. None of them are difficult. None of them are embarrassing. All you have to do is give me a 1 or 2 word answer unless you feel the need to expound. Okay?
All right.
Here we go. 5 fast ones with Muhammad-Ali Abdur-Rahkman. Number 1, what was your first car?
Volkswagen Passat.
Right. You have a year on that?
I think it was 2019. Late bloomer. I'm a late bloomer.
Yeah, that sounds like it. Question number 2, are you afraid of heights?
No.
Okay. Number 3, name me 3 dinosaurs.
T-Rex, pterodactyl, and would an alligator consider it?
No.
I don't know.
That's fine. Are you a video game player for starters? And if you are, what's the one you find yourself playing the most when you're out on the road?
I would say yes, I am, and I play Call of Duty a lot.
Call of Duty. And finally, question number 5, 5 fast ones with Muhammad-Ali Abdur-Rahkman. Would you rather hit a 3-pointer or a dunk?
I'd rather dunk. I don't dunk often, but I'd rather dunk.
You don't dunk often, but when you do, they're good ones. Well, Muhammad, it's been a real pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. It's great to see that you're doing well. Thank you so much for taking the time for us today. And be well, stay safe, and we hope to see you playing basketball again, hopefully at the Civic Center real soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. But thanks for having me. Go blue and charge up.
That's a good way to end it right there. That'll do it for today's Sugardale Charge Chat. To all of our Charge Nation members, corporate partners, and fans, wherever they may be, thanks for joining us. Stay healthy, stay home, and we look forward to seeing you at a Charge game again real soon.